Rajapaksa, former Secretary General of the UNCTAD, His Excellency Sihasak Phongketkaew, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Chawaphat Ongmahathamongkol, President of Harvard Club of Thailand, Mr. Supakit Jarankul, Executive Director, the International Institute for Trade and Development (ITD), Excellencies, Ambassador, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, and ladies and gentlemen. It is actually my great honor to be here with you today with a very important milestone of sharing the insight of the studies that the ITD has created together with UNCTAD of the report for 2025. I'm actually quite humbled to stand here in front of all the experts, particularly everything that I like to say had already been covered by the previous speakers, His Excellency Sihasak. So I don't really know what to share more than what he just mentioned. So I'd probably like to reiterate that to work together as Team Thailand is very important this day because the world has been shifted and changed. Geopolitical has created a direct impact directly to geo-economical, and also being impacted together with the climate crisis that we all face, together with the technology that we have been disrupted, and it could also be enabler for us to navigate the countries to the next level if we can apply and use those technology effectively. So all these forces that's put together has shaped and the country's positions to be a little bit different, I could say, than the previous time. Trade becomes very vulnerable. We need to position ourselves quite carefully on this kind of environment. And as His Excellency Sihasak already mentioned about the trade policies and also foreign policy that has to be together, it is something that we need to also understand where will be our position. While there's actually a lot of, I could say multipolar sort of world order right now, and it's become more extreme in polarization. So therefore, we actually been forced, all the country has been forced to trying to position ourselves well in this kind of environment. So therefore, Thailand has to also position ourselves well as well. While we need to also place focus on regionalization, which is actually become more and more important, because as a country we cannot stand alone. We actually have to work hand in hand closely with our strategic partner, with all the regional partners, particularly in this region, ASEAN, I would say that. So therefore, as regionalizations become very important, at the same time, we also need to identify what would be our unique position in order for us to stand out in terms of how we could be the selected trade partners to everyone. So when we discuss about trade, it becomes, the trade policy, it's not about us and the other countries that we're talking to. We actually have to identify where would be the mutual benefit that the two countries can work together in the new supply chain. Because everyone could probably know very well that there is actually a lot of trade diversion right now. Many countries trying to find the new strategic partners. We also the same. So we need to identify what would be the area that we can identify of the mutual benefit, mutual agreement to the countries that we are discussing with. So therefore, we can be part of the puzzle or the jigsaw that is very important, that we can fulfill the supply chain for that particular countries that we work with. So trading is not about sell to the country, but it could be sell with and sell through. Like, there's some, countries that we have a lot of, the trades deficit with. There's also a lot of countries that we also have a very positive, the trade balance. So therefore, if we only look into us, between the two countries, it's going to be very important or very difficult for us to continue to increase our trade volumes to that particular country. But if we can identify the area that we could be, in the joint benefit area, we can also become a very good, important part in the puzzle or jigsaw to that particular countries that we can help in terms of their supply chain. So that is actually something that we need to identify and work with. And when we look into, the country like Thailand, we can also identify that we actually position ourselves as for the geographically as the heart of Asia. People, when they're going to trade, through us because we're actually in the middle of ASEAN and Asia. So therefore, we need to utilize those as our key advantage. And besides that, there would be a lot of policy that we need to relook into in order for us to provide convenience to people and the investor who look for investment in the country to feel that they have find convenient, transparency, and all those, the skill that is required in order to fulfill those applications of investment requests that has been put into the country. And I'm actually quite pleased to see that last year we have seen a record high in terms of the request for investment in the country through the application for investment promotion. As you probably can see from the statistic, last year, the whole year, we actually have about 1.8 trillion baht as the requestment for the application of investment promotion to the country. And quite nicely, if you look into that particular figure, you will see that there's quite a lot of industry that's going to help us to shape ourselves to the new S-curve for the country. For example, we have seen quite a lot of investment requests for the data center, AI-related investment, the advanced technology like advanced semiconductor, like new generations of automotive, also in biotechnology, also in the future food processor. So all those are very key industry that would help us position ourselves to the next level of the new S-curve. So all of that 1.8 trillion baht for the investment request for application for investment promotion under BOI privilege, all of those, about 1.36 trillion baht is actually foreign direct investment, which is actually something that would help us to navigate ourselves a little bit further. Because when we look into the growth of the economy in the country, we probably want to look into the investment from this sector and from this private sector. And also the other engine that could help us grow would be export. And when it's come to export, as I already mentioned to you, we need to position ourselves well when there is a lot of trade diversions happening around the world. So Team Thailand that Excellency Sihasak already mentioned is actually very, very important that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs together with Ministry of Commerce and perhaps, Ministry of Finance under the BOI, privilege scheme have to work hand in hand to ensure that we can attract and address those, interests to come to the country. So that are something that we need to work with. And also not only the geographic, important that we are located at the heart of Asia. There's also the other thing that we need to, consider as well, as you probably aware that currently we have active 14 free trade agreement. So therefore, those investments that come to the country could also enjoy the benefit of the free trade agreement. We have 3 more, agreement that we already signed but not active yet. So we need to also ensure that this year we must ensure that we can, activate those additional 3, so it could become 17. The additional 3 that we already signed but not actually make it effective yet would be the Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and also AFTA, which is going to be a very important milestone because AFTA would be the first, stepping stone for us to get into Europe as well. And there's also a pipeline of a critical region or countries that we like to work with. This year we target also to trying to conclude the FTA discussion that we have with EU. For EU, we already have about 8 rounds of discussions, and it's actually have a very good progress, but still there's quite a few areas that we need to conclude, and we hopefully that we can see those kind of conclusion within a year. We also have target for South Korea. We also have the discussion ongoing with Canada, directly with Canada, although Canada has also the multilateral discussion with ASEAN as well. But there's also a connection that we like to also connect with them directly as well through the direct FTA with Canada. But all in all this FTA that we're talking about, be it that we already signed, we're about to make it effective, or the futures that we're going to sign, it has been signed in a different time, timeline. Some, of the FTA have been signed for more than 30 years, but trade, dynamic or trade landscape has been changed quite a lot, as you also know. So what we need to do is also to try to harmonize the FTA that we already signed. Whatever that signed, a few decades ago, we need to revisit and see whether that is still relevant to today, particularly some of the new area. For example, digital trades. This is also something that's very, very critical, and it's not mentioned, in that existing FTA that we've had with, long time ago. So to me, this is actually something that it's not just that we have FTA active in the country. We must ensure that it stays relevant. So that is something that we need to also look into when it comes to export and when it comes to trade. The other thing that is also very important is it's going to be quite, not that, benefit to anyone. If those FTA that we sign, not many people use. And when we look into statistically on those FTA that already been signed, none of them actually has been, maximized or used at 100%. There's still a lot of private sectors, the companies, that not using the privilege or benefit of FTA that we already have. So one of the missions that we're going to maximize the export is to ensure that we train, we give the knowledge, we make awareness of this benefit of FTA to those, private sector in order for them to maximize and utilize this FTA. So that's also another thing that we can work with. And just now I mentioned about digital trades. It's actually an opportune time because last year we actually achieved a very critical milestone within ASEAN. As you probably know, that ASEAN has an initiative called DFA, Digital Framework Economic Agreement. That is actually going to be, the framework of the regions that work together based on a digital, the area. Example could be the standard, regulations, infrastructure, knowledge transfer, skill transfer, that could help us trade, among the countries within the region in order for us to optimize an opportunity. And it's going to give a very important, the objective, which is actually to provide inclusivity to the small and medium enterprise. Because, if we can trade, with this, the digital capability, those small and medium enterprise can enjoy the benefit of a region sort of market size. Thailand, we have about 60 plus million populations, declining as well. But if we look into ASEAN, we look into 600 plus million of people. So the trade volume can extend quite a lot, and quite opportune time, as I mentioned. Thailand is actually a share to facilitate this DEFA to come to the conclusion. Last year during ASEAN summit, we achieved about 73% of the agreement of this framework agreement. Just recently, we achieved nearly 80%. And I believe that by April, which is actually the target, we should be able to complete the text, an agreement of this digital framework agreement for ASEAN. And if we can complete this, it's going to be the first region in the world that have this digital trade framework among these, the neighboring countries or member states. So we hope that by, the ASEAN summit this year, at the, fourth quarter this year, we can, sign this agreement and make sure that it's become, active to all members. And what does it mean to us? We actually have a target together for ASEAN that we're going to increase the trade volumes among ourselves, from $1 trillion to double the size to $2 trillion. So that is very important. So let me try to conclude here is that it is also a challenging time, as Excellency Sihasak already laid out a very perfect landscape that we are, facing a lot of force coming from an outside, and also in the country, we need to also ensure that we have a stability to address all these, the shift and change that's happening. So therefore, we need to change the way we do things. When we look into trade, it's not trade alone. We cannot work in silo anymore. We actually have to work as Team of Thailand, and we work together with Foreign Affairs, we work together with Finance Ministry, and also we have to work with a lot of countries around the world with the positions that Thailand would be the trusted partner. Because personally, I feel that the most important currency in the world is trust currency. So if we provide trust as a trusted partners to all those who engage with us, trade with us, I believe that this is going to be a sustainable relationship instead of just one-way relationship. So with that, then it's about the trade, landscape that has been changed and shift, and the way that we're going to address those change. So now I come back to my speech. So I would like to reflect that the importance of today's seminar for the Ministry of Commerce is that it is truly an unmissable event, and I can ensure that it is actually a very important event, that the world is changing rapidly, as I already mentioned, and we have identified synergies in the Trade and Development Reports 2025 that align with the goals that Ministry aspire to achieve, is to remain an ally to all, guided by the four principles: openness, inclusiveness, mutual respect, and mutual benefit. So this is actually the report that suggests that we confront the new policy frontier, forging climate economic resilience amidst multiple challenges for developing economies. Vicious cycle grips us. Rising climate costs, fuel mounting debt, while creditor hike borrowing rates based on perceived higher risk. So this trap is pretty much limit growth and perpetuate inequality. So the report would center around finance, trade finance, which when we talk about reports like this or global landscape, not many people talk about trade finance, which I really pleased to see that this report would guide us through the trade finance area, because if we don't have finance, then it's going to be very difficult to complete the transaction, to complete the trade, supply chain. So this global imbalance demand action, national resolve paired with coordinated international efforts to enhance financial resilience, which serve as a key vehicle for driving trade predictability. So today, I hope you all gain valuable insights from the key findings of the UN Trade and Development experts and the panel discussion. I would like to extend my best wishes for the success of today's international seminar and the most enjoyable day to all participants. Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณมากค่ะ Thank you so much to Your Excellency. We have much indeed